Right then, this is a quick walk around video and it's just starting to rain, unfortunately. This is for a Honda Civic 1.6 SR diesel. This car's very low mileage, I think it's 44,000, but I'll check that for you. Finished in white, which looks fantastic on these SRs because it gets the black roof, panoramic roof. Black bits, it just looks absolutely superb, and it is in beautiful condition. Lights and lenses clear, intact without any cracks or condensation there. Bonnet very clean, hardly microscopic stone chips obviously, but tiny. Near side really smooth in the panels. This side front alloy very good. Sorry, it's going to be a little bit quicker than normal because the rain's starting to get some of those thundery days today. Rear alloy again, very nice. Going around the back, it's all very clean on the bumper corners. You do get the extended rear skirts on the SR versions as well. Offside of the car, again, very clean, no indentations there at all. Offside rear alloy, again, really nice condition. And then remaining panel work, it's absolutely beautiful in the car. It really is. Absolutely lovely condition, this thing. Coming to the boot area now, absolutely enormous boots. It's been kept beautifully. Nice sign of ownership when you see the load liners in there. Coming to the back now, wide opening rear doors. And the leatherwork in the car looks pretty much brand new. It's got that sort of factory fresh look about it, which is really rare for Civics because they're normally very heavily used. Coming to the front and the passenger side, again, lovely and clean. Likewise, footwell areas. Passenger seat literally looks like it's hardly ever been sat on. Finally coming in on the driver's door, again, all lovely and clean. Sorry, I do apologise, my shadow's going to get in the way with this one. But again, all very nice, just the tiniest bit of wear where people slide in and out and the bolster there. But I mean, it's minuscule. So inside the car now, as always, the engine's running through this section so the dash can be seen illuminated. Dashboard is in beautiful condition like the rest of the car. Sat nav, you can see, working exactly as it should. Put the car into reverse. Lovely clear gridded parking camera. Coming across the main dashboard binnacle, it looks absolutely stunning. And that's the view you get as a driver. And basically you should set your driving seat so that your steering wheel is sort of slap bang between the top of the rev counter and the speedo there. But it really is extraordinary to look at. And just pan in there for you, hopefully you can see. Sorry, I got that wrong. 41,482 miles, and there are no warning lights on the dashboard, just the low fuel light currently illuminated. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic. It's a 1.6 SR diesel. This car is registered WL14HMF, and with a mileage of just 41,474 recorded. The reason we do all of our videos, and especially actually this road test section, is to ensure that if anyone is online looking at any of our cars, they actually get to see the very car advertised in operation. And the reason we feel it's important is simple. We, like many people, have been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in the adverts and photographs, but only to get there and find out when you drive it, it's got a fundamental issue which you'd much rather known about before setting off. So hence that's why we do it. We also do it on these very quiet country roads in this lovely part of Gloucestershire. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, and in that way we hope it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, with a low mileage like this, you'd expect it to drive well, and it doesn't disappoint in any way. It is as tight as a drum. It really is. Engine starts instantly and settles to completely smooth and even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all, aside from a low fuel light. Temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda car. The engines are superb diesel engines, absolutely superb. You basically buy a diesel for economy, there's no two ways about it. And in that sense, it doesn't disappoint at all. It's got, sorry, let this chap go through. I've owned numerous of these cars in hatch and estate forms, and we've got a CRV which uses the same engine. In the Civics, I tend to, because I don't do the ideal driving for them, I sort of tend to do slightly shorter trips, but I tend to be about 60-ish to the gallon. When I'm going down to see friends in Dorset, that'll be over 70. I've got customers getting amazingly high fuel economy figures, but it's all about how you drive and where you drive, quite clearly, as I've done in some MPG videos in the past. But the fact is, the economy comes relatively easily to the car, unlike some cars where you've got to really nurse them along, be ever so careful. It still encourages smooth driving as always, but as I said, it's not one of those cars you've got to be overly sympathetic towards. They're also very smooth and quiet in operation. You only really notice a diesel at very low speeds, which even Honda can't engineer out, but on the move it's very, very smooth and refined indeed. Engine then feeds through into the clutch and gearbox on the car. Clutch on the car, absolutely perfect. Light points exactly where it's meant to be, and it's lovely and smooth in operation. The gearbox is typical Honda, absolutely brilliant, because Honda make a real effort to make your primary controls, all your controls in fact, but particularly the ones you're using every few seconds, feel really good and satisfying to use. So it starts with the gear lever itself, that sort of leather bound thing, feels, your hand rests on it nicely, it feels nice in the hand. The actual gear change has kind of a meaty mechanical quality to it, whilst also being light and precise. Manages to combine the two, which actually encourages you to change your gear rather than think, oh, do I have to really? It's just beautifully done, and it's all the more remarkable because basically it's so precise, yet that gear lever, like most modern cars which are front wheel drive, is joined to the gearbox underneath by cables. So that's why so many can be vague, lifeless, whereas this is really lovely, and that feels exactly as it would have done when it was new. There's just no wear in it at all. Steering on the car, steering again, really nicely done. It's absolutely pinpoint accurate, quick, sharp, nicely weighted, all things I love in steering. It also tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit, and it works with the chassis beautifully, because it's really weird. You get in some cars and the steering can feel really quick and direct, and yet the chassis feels soft and wallowy, and it's actually quite an unsettling combination. Or you get one that's sharp suspension but with slovenly steering. This works perfectly, absolutely perfectly together. So when you're going through the corners, it just flows beautifully. All sorts of corners, high speed ones, low speed, off camber, bumpy, smooth. It just eats them up. It's absolutely brilliant. It also rides beautifully, because this section of the road here is awful. This is why I come up here and talk about it at this point. It's also, I can then listen out for any kind of clonks or rattles from underneath the car that shouldn't be there, of which there's nothing at all. But it is very, very compliant and comfortable in terms of the ride. I'm just going to pull out onto the main road, and I get up to speed and give the brakes a bit of a shove. Get up to the legal limit, hold on to my things. That's a really good brake pedal on the car. What I'm looking for is good instant bites, which it's got, but I'm particularly feeling for any kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal, and there's nothing at all. It's absolutely spot on. So finally coming inside, given the fact that we've not even cleaned the car yet, it's in lovely, lovely condition in here, and it will, it's going to be cleaned. But it hardly needs it. The first thing you notice, as with pretty much all Hondas of this vintage, is just how well built these things are. It is beautifully, beautifully assembled. No squeaks, no rattles, feels solid, looks lovely in here. And the dash, I love. I absolutely love these interiors. Now, I readily admit, it's a Marmite interior. Some people love them, some people don't. But I think that's, I've always said it, I think that's a really good sign of good design, because it shouldn't conform, it shouldn't make everyone just feel, oh, it's okay. You know, you love it or hate it, and I think that's brilliant. So, but the fact is, it also is designed to work. It's not just for show. The most conventional part is this centre stack here, so you've just got the usual things, you know, your vents, sat nav working perfectly, dual zone climate control system, so you can have different temperatures side to side, pumping out absolutely ice cold air, and it's quite hot today, it's 25 degrees. Heated seats again working exactly as they should. But my favourite part has always been this two-tier design directly in front. What Honda have done is put on the upper deck, really high up, higher than normal, the information you need to look at, but you don't want to take your eyes off the road really. So if I change things like the fan speed or do something on the radio, the upper display has a much bigger display there than down here, so you've got to kind of look down to see it. But then all by itself, just floating away there, is the big digital speedo. So I can just basically look at, you know, the cars, pedestrians, cyclists, whoever, but at the corner of my eye, I'm keeping my eye on my speed the whole time without having to look down at all. It is a simply brilliant design in terms of safety, but also I think how it looks, especially when it's illuminated at night, looks absolutely fantastic. Down below that we've got a more conventional pod of 3 dials there, big rev counter flanked by the temperature and fuel gauges, and then you've got this lovely thick rimmed leather steering wheel. Feels absolutely fantastic to hold and shows no wear at all. So this car is in beautiful condition. As I said at the start, it is brief, but it's only here to show you the car operating, but you know, to feedback on anything at all, of which there's nothing. So I cannot fault it at all. You know, there's a very good reason why these hold their value as well as they do, and driving it here is again another nice reminder of exactly why, because they are engineered to a different level to virtually anything else in their class. As always though, if you've got any questions about the car, don't hesitate, do give us a call.